Welcome to the 226th Baccalaureate Ceremony. I'm Safa Zaki, President of the College. To open our proceedings, I'd like you to stand, if you're able, to sing America the Beautiful. We will be led by singers from the class of 2026 and accompanied on piano by George Lopez, our Robert Beckwith artist in residence. The words are on the back of your program. Thank you, George, and our vocalists. That was beautiful. I'm delighted to welcome all of you here today, family and friends of our graduating seniors, our honorary degree recipients and their friends and family members, trustees, alumni, faculty and staff, and friends of the college, and especially the class of 2026. I'm also delighted to welcome Bowdoin's 15th president, Clayton Rouse, and his wife, Julianne Rose, and our 14th president, Barry Mills, and his wife, Karen Gordon Mills. Baccalaureate marks the official end of the academic year. Seniors, as your family and friends and the Bowdoin community come together to celebrate with you, today is also an opportunity to reflect on the experiences you've had here and to look forward to what lies ahead. At commencement last year, I spoke about the Bowdoin class of 1825, about its lesser-known members and what made that class so successful. I talked primarily about the relationships that they had with each other and how those friendships shaped their time at Bowdoin and the rest of their lives. Today, I want to return from a different vantage point to one of that class's most famous graduates, Nathaniel Hawthorne. When Hawthorne graduated, even 10 and 20 years after he graduated, it would have come as a shock to him that his work would still be read today. We remember him as the acclaimed author, but there was nothing visible from his time at Bowdoin and early adulthood that would have predicted that success. He was an average student at best. He was fined repeatedly for playing cards. He was one of the only students who did not manage to get it together to write a commencement address. He described his life at Bowdoin in this way: I was an idle student, negligent of college rules and the procrustean details of academic life, rather choosing to nurse my own fancies than to dig into Greek roots and be numbered among the learned Thebans, which might be his remarkably literary way of saying he did not do the reading. After graduating, he moved home and lived with his mother, where he wrote and held down a variety of jobs he found less than interesting. Some years later, he was fired from one of those jobs. This is not, I should add, the career path we advertise in our admissions materials. It was this event, not a promotion, not a fellowship, not some big grand moment, that gave him the time and inspiration to write The Scarlet Letter, which was almost immediately a bestseller. When Hawthorne remembered the stage of his life, he described feeling that he had not lived, but only dreamed of living. Let me offer a different perspective on those years. I believe that those years were years when he was living his life, doing exactly the things that led him to become a writer whose words still speak to us today. His return home, his building of a family, his developing of friendships and a community with other writers, his professional travails and personal losses, all gave him the experiences and perspectives that he poured into his writing. I do not tell you this as a romantic story about a writer, nor do I tell it as a warning that your 20s and 30s will necessarily be difficult, or as a trope that those difficulties will inevitably lead to success. Instead, I tell you because I think it describes a kind of human work, the kind of human life that is at this particular moment in particular need of defense. You are graduating into a world in which artificial intelligence is increasingly being used to predict who people are and what they're likely to do. More and more, the world will encounter you and understand you through versions of yourselves that have been assembled by institutions, by employers, and by people using these systems, but who have never met you in person. These systems are improving quickly, they're often useful, and they're often right. But there's one thing they cannot do. They cannot see the part of you that is not yet finished. They cannot model the self that is in formation, the questions you have not yet asked, the friendships you have not yet made, the readings you have not yet done, the obligations you have yet to recognize as yours, and also the losses you have not yet experienced. These are the materials from which a human life is made. They're not fully legible in advance. Turning those materials into a life is what your Bowdoin education has been preparing you for, not uncovering a predetermined, known set of answers, but the slow work of becoming someone capable of forming and reforming the right questions. When you read difficult text and stayed with it past the point of comfort, you were doing that work. When you sat across from a classmate whose view of the world was unlike yours and tried, really tried, to understand it. When you stayed up to help a friend with a problem set you had already finished. When you noticed that something you had believed was in fact more complicated than you had let yourself see, you were doing that work. These efforts are the disciplines of the unfinished self. And they are precisely what your education has given to you and has demanded of you. Here is what I find most hopeful about this hard moment in the world. I do not know what you will write, what you will build, what you will refuse, what you will ask that has not yet been asked. I do not know which versions of yourself will become through this, what versions of yourself you will become through the slow work of these next years. The years that for Hawthorne turned out to be the least visible of his life, but maybe the most important. This is not a failure of imagination. It is the nature of what a generation does when it enters the world. And it is the reason any of us bother to teach. Not because we know what you will do, but because we trust you will do something we have not done, could not have done, something we didn't even know needed doing, and could not have predicted. We know you're ready for this. We know it because of the ways you have astonished your professors with your curiosity, your rigor, and your willingness to be challenged. We know it because we've seen you on stages and on playing fields. We've seen you win awards, prizes, and fellowships, and because we've seen you give your time generously and quietly to this community and to the world beyond it. And we know it because we've seen you again and again take genuine care of one another. Bowdoin is better because you were here, and the future you're entering, uncertain, unpredicted, and yours to shape, is better because you're entering it. Thank you. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Kase Lin, a member of the graduating class and a winner of the D'Alve Stanwood Alexander First Prize, which carries with it the honor of speaking at Baccalaureate. Kase is a double major in government and legal studies and in Asian studies, with a minor in education. Across his 4 years at Bowdoin, his work has returned again and again to a few enduring themes: community, culture, and public life. On campus, he helped lead the Japanese Student Association, organizing cultural events ranging from a taiko performance to a Japanese fish printing workshop. Reaching beyond the college, he founded the Japanese Cultural Association of Maine, a grassroots organization that brings together people with ties to both Maine and Japan. Kase also entered with the Maine International Trade Center and in the district office of a member of Congress, experiences that connected him with Mainers across the state. Last year, the Maine International Trade Center named him its future global leader. His academic path mirrors those same commitments, culminating in an honors thesis on the predicament of rural migrant workers in Shenzhen, China. An international student from Tokyo, Kase chose to spend a semester away at Columbia University, where he volunteered at Kings County Housing and Civil Court, assisting unrepresented litigants as they navigated the legal system. After graduation, he will return to Japan to join the Tokyo office of a leading US law firm as a paralegal in its banking and credit practice. The title of his address today is Bowdoin, a Community That Shows Up. Please join me in welcoming Kase Lin.
President Zaki, members of the college, and guests, welcome. My fellow students from the class of 2026, take a moment to think back to your very first day at Bowdoin. What did you imagine this community would be, and how has the vision changed over the past 4 years? We have shared so many of the same beautiful moments, like sitting on the quad together, watching the rare solar eclipse, and catching glimpses of northern lights for more than even once. Yet, within these shared spaces and memories, each of you has traveled a journey entirely your own, shaped by your own different experiences, challenges, and connections. Today, I would like to take some time to share the most important thing that I have taken with me from my time here, a deep, deep sense of community. the Bowdoin community that supports us, and the everyday connections that we've built in small, often unexpected moments. And as I share my story, I hope it echoes, in some way, many of your own journey here at Bowdoin. My time at Bowdoin did not unfold in a way that I had fully expected. Just 3 weeks into my college, my first semester, I was found unconscious in my dorm room. Later, I was diagnosed with a rare brain tumor. For me and my family, it was an incredibly difficult moment. Yet, throughout my entire treatment, I was never alone. I was supported by people across the community here at Bowdoin. My first-year roommate, Mingi, found me and called for help. My classmates, Tony, Renchin, Daniel, and Edward, despite only knowing me for only 3 weeks, came to the hospital in Portland with snacks from the Hong Kong market. The dean's office arranged flights for my family from Japan, and Professor Salinger came to the hospital and became an interpreter for my family. My radiation oncologist, Dr. Bristow, a Bowdoin alumnus from the class of 1994, he planned my treatment with care, and 2 professors, Professor Chuck Dorn and Professor Salinger, Jeff Salinger this time, took turn driving me to the hospital every single day for 6 weeks in a row during the semester. And this list goes on and on. In the lowest points of my life, Bowdoin people, whether they knew me or not, came alongside me and lifted me up. And it was this unexpected moments and experience that revealed to me the strength of this community. Over the past 4 years, I've seen the same strength again and again. It has been there in the moments of hardship, from the tragedy in Lewiston to the loss of our beloved classmates. It has also been there in everyday gestures, like a Bowdoin hello, to someone open the door behind them for you. Working at the past 2 alumni reunion as a student ambassador has been an immensely rewarding experience for me. There are shared lighthearted moments when alumni offer to sneak drinks for us or to offer to drive a golf cart. And rest assured, for safety reasons, they didn't get their way. But what stood out the most for me was alumni's ongoing sense of community. The stories they share about their time at Bowdoin, the friendship they built that had injured, and the place that they still deeply miss. It was at the reunions I got to know a lovely couple, Suri and Hugh, from the class of 1965, back when the college was not co-ed. So Hugh was graduate of class of 1965, and then Suri's brother, Michael, actually graduated with Hugh at the same time. Both of them were part of a fraternity group, which is now the Lad House. Suri and Hugh would later become my host family, a second home here at Bowdoin. Through you, my classmates, my professors, the alumni, and my second family there in Maine, I've come to fully understand that resilience is never something that we carry alone. It grows from the strength of an ongoing community, creating a lasting cycle of care across generations. Back to the present, and some good news. After 2 brain surgeries and 30 runs of radiation therapy, I have fully recovered from the tumor incident. And by the end of the Bowdoin journey, I have lost nothing except a tumor. And I have gained so much. You're truly, truly amazing community. Fred Rogers, a famous television host for Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he once said, "We live in a world in which we need to share responsibility. It's easy to say, it's not my child, it's not my community, it's not my world, it's not my problem. And then there's those who see the needs and stand out. And I see those people, my heroes," unquote. And all of you, my friends, are my heroes. Each of you with your very own Bowdoin story that will unfold in the fullness of time. More than ever, this road, even amid all the chaos, still deserves our love. And what it needs is more of what we have found here at Bowdoin. As we look forward to the commencement tomorrow and to our lives beyond Bowdoin, I invite you to join me in reflecting on the wonderful community that we have been part of in the past 4 years. Class of 2026, let's carry this Bowdoin spirit into the places we go next, fostering a world that makes people know that they belong, and that brings genuine joy. Our sense of community does not stop here. It is just the beginning of big and complex lives. Thank you, my friends, and cheers.
Thank you, Kase. That was so inspiring. It's now my real pleasure to welcome to the stage seniors from various Bowdoin a cappella groups who will perform this evening's interlude, Blackbird, written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney and arranged by Soren James and Reese Moon of the Harvard Opportunes. And I will just say, as they're coming up here, that I had a chance to sneak into the chapel yesterday when they were rehearsing, and they sound really, really good. So I'm very excited about this.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you're only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Wings to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird singing in the blackbird singing, blackbird singing in the blackbird singing, blackbird singing, blackbird singing, blackbird singing in the blackbird singing, blackbird singing, blackbird singing in the blackbird singing, blackbird singing in the blackbird singing, blackbird singing, blackbird singing, blackbird singing in the blackbird singing, 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 blackbird singing in the blackbird singing, blackbird singing, blackbird singing, blackbird singing. dead of night. Into the light of the dark black night.
I think you see what I mean. It is my true pleasure to now introduce this afternoon's keynote speaker, Cecilia Elena Rouse. Dr. Rouse is an economist, educator, and leader whose work has focused on education, labor markets, economic opportunity, and social mobility. Throughout her career, she's engaged questions that sit at the center of public life. Who has access to opportunity? How do education and public policy shape people's lives? What conditions allow individuals and communities to thrive? And how can institutions help expand opportunity more broadly? She is the president of the influential and nonpartisan think tank, the Brookings Institution, and previously served as chair of the Council of Economic Advisors under President Biden. Her service as chair marked her third role in the White House, following earlier service on the Council of Economic Advisors during the Obama administration and the National Economic Council during the Clinton administration. At the same time, Dr. Rouse has spent more than 3 decades at Princeton University as a professor and academic leader. She joined the Princeton faculty in 1992, just after earning her bachelor's degree and PhD at Harvard, and later served for nearly 10 years as dean of the Princeton School of Public and International Affairs. Throughout her career in higher education and public service, she has helped shape national conversations about workforce development, higher education, economic mobility, and whether during recessions, and she's done all of this during recessions, a global pandemic, or periods of relative stability. Over decades in her work as an economist, she's talked about the importance of evidence-based decision-making, asking hard questions, and seeing and seeking plausible arguments from other perspectives. Those commitments and that experience feel especially meaningful at a moment where many of the challenges facing our society resist easy answers. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Cecilia Elena Rouse.
Good afternoon. President Zaki, Bowdoin faculty and staff, parents, other family members and loved ones, and I'm going to give a shout out to Alex Wiseman's grandmothers. It is a privilege to be with you here today. And to the class of 2026, congratulations. This is a huge milestone, and your experiences at Bowdoin will forever play a role in shaping who you are and who you become. Let's give them a round of applause. You too, Carol. And yet, the world today is so full of uncertainty. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but I thought I'd share a few items that are hanging in my anxiety closet. Our nation is at war with an uncertain future. Relationships with many of our allies are strained, reshaping global order. Here at home, ICE activity has made many feel unsafe just going about their daily lives. our federal policymakers don't seem to have noticed that our national debt is approaching $38 trillion, or about $114,000 for every person in America, with no plan for how to address it. And then there's the labor market. And this is far from a complete list. Can I get a show of hands? How many of you are anxious about your next step and what the future might look like? Come on, I would put my hand up. You're not alone, but you cannot give up. Rather, we need you to lean in. With all of today's challenges, the world desperately needs your skills, your passions, your talents. Yet, as confident as I am in that fact, I also know that your path forward will not be crystal clear. There will be rejections, disappointments, and plans gone awry. And if you're the sort of person who likes to have your future all mapped out, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Your plans will almost certainly not play out the way you think they will. As the great boxer and 21st century sage Mike Tyson once quipped, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. And trust me, life will punch you in the face probably more than once. Because you simply cannot control what is out of your control, which turns out to be quite a lot. What you can control is your attitude, skill sets, interests, and values. Those are the tools at your disposal to help you through whatever challenges come your way. My own uncertain path has been guided by my values and interest in economics. Over the past 30 years, I focused on questions in labor economics as a professor at Princeton, during 3 White House tours, and now leading a think tank that's dedicated to using research and evidence to address policy challenges. And some might argue I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And yet, if you'd asked me on the day of my college graduation what my path would be, I would have had absolutely no idea. I just knew that I enjoyed economics and the power it holds to address important questions in policy, and I wanted to improve my French. So let's fast forward to today. Things have turned out okay for me. I won't say I've done everything right. I've certainly had my share of disappointments, and there were plenty of times I felt and continue to feel the anxiety that comes with walking down an uncertain path. But I've tried to follow my interests, stay authentic to who I am, and seek opportunities to learn and do more. So today, as you start down your own path, I want to leave you with 3 lessons I have learned over the years that have helped me. First, you cannot know the road not taken, ever. Years ago, while driving my daughter to camp, I heard on the radio the parable of the farmer whose horse runs away. Some of you may be familiar with it. After the farmer's horse runs away, his neighbors lament his misfortune. But the farmer responds, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" The next day, the horse returns with several wild horses, and the farmers marvel at the farmer's good luck. Still, the farmer replies, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" Later, the farmer's son falls off one of the horses and breaks his leg. The farmers express sympathy at this misfortune, and still the farmer replies, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" Soon after, the army comes to call on able-bodied young men for service, and the son is spared because of his injury. The neighbors all call it good fortune, and again the farmer replies, "Good luck, bad luck, who knows?" What I love about this story is it reminds us that we cannot know how a decision or an outcome will impact the course of our lives. And we certainly cannot know what would have happened if things had turned out differently. Because just like the farmer who is unwilling to place a value judgment on life events, you simply cannot know where life will take you or how something will turn out. Okay, on to my second lesson. Excitement happens outside of your comfort zone. As I mentioned earlier, when graduating college, I knew I wanted to improve my French, ideally by studying abroad. So I applied for a fellowship to do so. When I asked a mentor for advice on where to go and suggested I was thinking of a Caribbean island such as Martinique, His response was, "Why would you do that? You'll go there on your yuppie vacations. Go someplace you would not otherwise go." That was how I ended up spending almost a year in Dakar, Senegal, the best advice ever. During that year, I learned a little Wolof, spent many hours in Ngalam, the nightclub around the corner, learned to enjoy cebujen, the Senegalese national dish. I made friends at l'Université de Cheikh Anta Diop from many other countries and traveled around West Africa. Oh, and I improved my French. Most importantly, it changed how I see the world, and for that, I am most grateful. I share this story right now because many of you are starting to make decisions about graduate school, jobs, where to live, what to pursue. You may feel a tug towards what feels safe and predictable. But pushing the boundaries of what feels comfortable can be the best way to grow and discover yourself. It might mean taking a job that isn't the obvious choice, moving to a new city, changing fields in the middle of your career, or speaking up when it would have been easier to stay quiet. Be bold, be curious. You can't know what lies just beyond your comfort zone until you take a leap and discover what's there. Which brings us to my third and perhaps most important lesson. One I repeat so often, just ask my family and friends. There are only 24 hours in a day. I know, that's obvious. But truthfully, I don't think many of us fully grasp this concept. Think about it. No matter who you are, your age, profession, where you live, how much money you have, we all get the same 24 hours each day. This is both a constraint and a gift. It's a constraint because it cannot, under any circumstances, be changed. Other resources can be increased, at least in some way. They can be shared with others, lent or borrowed, saved or put in a trust for our kids. But time marches on. You only get 24 hours a day of it, and you can never get it back. But it's also a gift, because it's yours and only yours, and you largely get to use it as you wish. Now, I'm not going to tell you how to use your time. Like I said, it's yours. But I do have a couple of suggestions. Spend it on things you genuinely value. For example, keeping in mind Bowdoin's motto of the common good, it's worth devoting some of your time to serving others. There are countless ways you can do just that. Take my fellow honorees. Sharon Daly dedicated her career to bringing healthcare and other needed resources to people on Maine's island communities. And Evan Gershkovich took great personal risk to bring important information to the public. They chose to spend their precious time in service of the common good, and the world is most certainly better off for it. And reserve some of your time for yourself. You can't do your best and help others if you haven't taken care of yourself first. Remember that, don't forget yourself. So in closing, I ask you to take a deep breath. You're on the eve of a new stage of life. Your path forward won't always be easy, but you must lean in, even as you cannot have a blueprint for the future. When you find yourself feeling lost, questioning your direction, or uncertain of the road before you, remember, you cannot know the road not taken. Excitement happens outside of your comfort zone, and there are only 24 hours in a day. Use them wisely. The good news? Your time at Bowdoin has prepared you not for a single path forward, for the possibility of many. That is the offer of the college. And of course, it has also prepared you for crushing some serious lobster. To the Bowdoin class of 2026, I cannot wait to see where your path takes you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Rouse. To close our ceremony today, please stand and join the class of 2026 and George Lopez on the piano in singing of Ray's songs to Bowdoin. You will find the lyrics on the back of your program. And now, I'd like to invite you to then attend the Down East Lobster Bake behind Farley Fieldhouse next door. Congratulations again to our seniors, soon-to-be graduates. We look forward to seeing you at tomorrow morning for the 221st commencement on the quad.